So it was just a couple months ago that we were sitting at our kitchen table. We might have been a little elevated after enjoying a J. And Rachel and I, who I have with me here today, I don't have her introduce herself in a second, but we were legitimately laughing at ourselves, kind of making fun of ourselves for the fitness trends and the things that we did when we first got in the industry and became health coaches. And it's just so funny today that we believed what we believed back then.
I know. It's ridiculous. We were chatting yesterday and you asked me, for instance, energy drinks. Like I used to slam like 2-3 a day. Yikes.
Yeah. And that was a trend. Like I remember when this was like 6 years ago, every fitness influencer was associated with some type of energy drink.
Like
Bang. I did the whole Bang. I was a Bang girl.
Okay, yeah. I did drink Bang. I did have some Celsius.
Yeah.
But now fast forward, I'm like, I mean, you look back and you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? And I can't believe also, it wasn't like I encouraged it. Like, hey guys, drink Bang, drink Celsius. But like,
I did. I encouraged it. I mean, I was a Bang girl, so I would go to the gym and pass out Bangs. My trunk was full of Bangs, and I started actually having like stomach issues drinking them, and it was going right through me. And that's when I realized, I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be associated with this brand if I can't even drink them myself.
Right. I mean, we get involved with whether it be like a beverage or like something that we eat. And then it's like you kind of don't realize because you just get caught up in like maybe the marketing or the fantasy, the glitz, the glam of this certain product. And next thing you know, you're like, this is actually, you take a moment to look at the back of the package and you're like,
wow,
this is all
what am I drinking?
Yes, like this is just a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. We are living in a world today where it is becoming so hard to know what's real and what's fake. With all the filters, with just social media, you can hide behind your phone and be anyone you want to be, which is why with the relaunch of my podcast, I really wanted to record all these episodes in real time, live, so that's extremely raw and transparent. There's no scripting. And I knew I wanted you on because to me, you really represent that. I feel that you really hold yourself at a very high standard. You walk with confidence and you're not afraid to be who you want to be and to speak your opinion, speak your voice, even with politics. I've heard you talk about politics and to be honest, I'm afraid to do that because I'm afraid of the lashback that I'll get. And so I really respect you and look up to you for that.
Thank you. It's honestly just who I am. Like I sort of can't help myself. There's definitely moments where I'm like, calm down, like cool it, whatever. And I feel like over the past maybe year, honestly, I've sort of really embraced what it means to not shut my mouth, but just like keep my own opinions and my own observations to myself as opposed to like, guys, what do you think of this? What's going on? I'm in a new place where I really want to dial in on my life and have more control, like inner control, as opposed to having these outside forces steer me in one direction or another, but nonetheless, I still pay attention. I still think most of the things are ridiculous. I still will speak my truth if I'm asked, but I'm not going to go out of my way to be like, hey, what do you think of this, that, and the other? Like, for me, my main focus is to take care of myself and to create a life that I truly wake up and I like cry of happiness.
Do you feel like you've always been that way?
Like vocal, authentic,
and even just true to yourself, because I know as females it is becoming harder and harder for us to really be true to ourselves because of social media and everything that we see, and because of the lies that we see on social media and it's how people can pretend to be anyone they want and they can fall into that peer pressure. And
can you imagine if we had social media when we were younger? I mean, it's mind-boggling. Truly. I feel like we were sort of the generation. Maybe social media kind of came around like Facebook, not literally when we were in college, maybe.
Like, I was in college.
A little bit high school, maybe.
Very different.
But I mean, even for Instagram, like back in the day, you would post like a picture of your meal in like a shitty filter, get 3 likes. Like that's not how it is now, obviously. And I mean, as adults, for us, I mean, we still get swayed and we sort of can find ourselves rethinking things about ourselves and sort of nitpicking. I mean, again, I feel like lucky that we didn't grow up dealing with that shit. I mean, nonetheless, we did have other things going on that made us feel
For
maybe
sure.
self-conscious or made us question or like act in a way that, again, maybe like wasn't who we were, but what like society wanted us to be.
Yeah.
And I mean, throughout it all, I always come back to like, okay, how is this making me feel? Like, if it makes
Yeah.
me feel like shit, if it makes me feel like I have a lot of anxiety or just anything that's not good feeling, I really just, you have to acknowledge that and then like distance yourself from it and find
Yeah.
things that do make you feel good, find things that do give you life,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And what's funny to me too is when we met, so Rachel and I were connected through a past client of mine, Shelby, who's a
Mhm.
good friend now as well. She referred Rachel into my business mentoring program, Coaching with Confidence. And I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you messaged me, we started chatting the DMs, you were straight up. You were like, I need to know that you are a real person and that this is legit because
Yep.
there's so many schemers out there.
Totally.
And you were very open about that from day one.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a place where I do a lot of yoga teacher stuff and fitness coaching, and I just was in a place where, okay, how can I like bring it all together and package it and do like coaching here and there and sort of just transform my business into something that honestly I've never done before. And Shelby was speaking so highly of you.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was no offense to
Of
you, but
course.
I've like reached out to other coaches in
Yeah.
the past, and it was like, okay, like I charge X amount, send me the money now, and then I could give you all the information. And I'm like, what am I paying for? Like,
Yeah.
no, like it just did, again, it doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
It gave me anxiety. It just again wasn't right for me. And so for me, when I want something, I'm very like, this is what I want. I'm very straightforward. Like, hey, do you do X, Y, and Z? Let me know about A, B, C, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that was my biggest thing, was like, hey, are you like a legitimate
Yeah.
person? Like,
Yeah.
do you have feelings and emotions? Like,
Yeah.
can you understand the nuances of being a human? Can you help guide me in a direction that is, benefits me, not only me, but my clients and in my sphere of influence?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, when we did meet up and you did decide to move forward, was there anything in particular that an energy I gave off or anything I said, like what made you trust me and decide to take a chance?
I just
in a
thought you were
way?
really genuine and sweet. And I mean, who doesn't like that, right?
Yeah.
And then the fact that Shelby, who like I've known because we were like doing personal training in the same company together.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, she just spoke highly of you.
Yeah.
And having that like reference to me
Really
is
helped.
huge.
Yeah.
Like that to me was like the make or break, was Shelby either saying she's legit or no,
Yeah.
find somebody
Yeah.
else. Like that was it for me.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about some of the fitness trends. We got into just health and wellness and became a personal trainer, a health coach. Like, was there one thing in particular that really stands out that nowadays you're like, what was I thinking? Well, I know we talked about energy drinks.
Sure.
Outside of that,
So when I started to get into my health and wellness journey, I realized a lot about the food industry and the shadiness, the corruption, the bullshit. And I really started to deep dive into that. I think I was about maybe 20, 21 at the time.
Yeah.
And I was at U of A, University of Arizona, living in Tucson at the time. And I sort of stumbled into the vegan community.
Okay.
And so they were very much like, I agreed with like the corruption and all that. And from there, I started to, become vegan.
I didn't know that about you.
Yeah, I was vegan for a little bit. But then something about it, like there are, benefits to that, but then there are also consequences.
Yeah.
Especially being a female and, our hormones, and we get periods every month.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where, I got sick. And so I thought, okay, let me reevaluate, this diet of mine. And I think that's a huge thing. It's not even that I was vegan for a little bit. I know that being a carnivore now is like the trend.
Yeah.
There's no diet, in my opinion. There's no like, this is the diet.
Yeah.
I think that's ridiculous. I think you're ultimately putting yourself in a box, and I mean, I just don't think it's of grand surface, to be honest. Like, I think it could serve you up to a certain point, but beyond that, you're kind of stuck. I think ultimately, just like don't eat fake bullshit.
Yeah.
That's my thing. And even when I started, again, let's go back to like when I first became vegan and going down this road and sort of like advocating that to other people, like now I don't even like tell people what to do, like in the sense of like what to eat.
Yeah.
Because people get offended. People really hold on to their whys, their reasonings, and I'm not here to pry on people and make them feel pressured in any way. But again, nonetheless, just like eat healthy. Don't eat bullshit.
For sure. I definitely I was the girl that was if it fits your macros. Even when I first became
I was never that girl.
Became a health coach, I was all about if it fits your macros. And I'm laughing at myself now because I never looked at ingredients. I kid you not, I never looked at ingredients, and I wasn't prioritizing whole foods. I was prioritizing what was going to fit within my macros.
That's
and
crazy.
That is all I
never
really looked
thought
at,
about that. Yeah.
even when I started coaching. And so I'm, apologize to my new client, my first client.
I'm so sorry.
I'm like, oh my goodness, what was I thinking? But that was a big thing on social media. And even the coaches, all of the first coaches I had were all males, and they all were about, if it fits your macros, as long as you hit these numbers. And I was obsessed with hitting them to a T, and definitely using a lot of like artificial stuff as well as supplements. I definitely was also using a lot of supplements that would help with that. And I was associated with First Form for a long time. And actually, you were the one who made me kind of start to question what I was doing, because you were posting that Healthline girl. And so with First Form, I promoted their green powder a lot, and I used that all the time. And every day I was talking about the green powder. And I remember you shared something about her, and she was just really diving into like what is actually in that green powder.
And it sort of made you like, holy shit. Like it's that cognitive dissonance, when you are presented with information that goes against your current beliefs. It creates this like holy shit kind of weird feeling moment within you, and it's forcing you to reevaluate again, your beliefs, what it is that you are sharing with others. I think that's really important to consider.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. And I really hope that if from this podcast you get at least something to be more educated, in the sense to actually look at what you are putting into your body.
Literally.
Look what is on labels, because the fitness companies, the trends, they don't
give a shit.
They don't care.
They don't care about you.
They don't care.
They don't care. They just want your money. I'm telling you straight up. They don't give a fuck about your health. As long as they're making money from you, that's all they care about.
Yeah. And marketing these days, it's just a lie. I mean, the buzzwords people will use to make you think it is healthy. We see it in the grocery store on a daily basis, like high protein this, and then you actually look at it and you're like, wait a minute, this is not high protein, and this isn't real protein.
Like greenwashing, have you heard? Like, this is green, this is kind of going into like good for the environment, and like, again, this is all just marketing, you guys. That's what's the driving force behind any of this. No company gives a shit about you. Like, breaking news, hate to say it, but they don't care. They just care about profiting off of your ignorance, ultimately.
Yeah, it's sad. It really is sad, but it also tells us we just need to become more educated consumers, and we need to, stay true to ourselves, and what's going to, like, you going back to what you were talking about, like what makes me feel good.
Totally. That's how you really step into your power and create your life. You need to always, not always, but every so often, every day, pause, check in with yourself. Is what I'm doing, thinking, is who I'm around, like, is it making me feel good? If not, adjust accordingly.
Another thing that I think back when I got started in the fitness industry that I kind of laugh at today is just the movements I would do, the exercises, the Instagram movements where I'm like on a Bosu ball trying to do a squat, trying to hold weights at the same time, and trying these ridiculous movements and always trying to do more. I feel like I was always chasing more and just chasing that burn. And now I realize that was not serving me any good. And if anything, was probably causing causing more issues with my back. So
Sure.
I'm all about basics now. And the breath work,
yeah,
I know you're big into that too, like
totally.
really associating with your breathing.
You want to pair your movements with your breath. So like for instance, if you're performing a squat, usually I instruct you breathe in, go down, squat down, stand up, and then you exhale at the
Yeah.
top. I mean,
Yeah.
these are just little nuances that I find make a big
Oh
difference.
yeah, for sure.
Don't get caught, especially if you're new, like don't get so caught up because it could be overwhelming. But that's just something that, again, like you want to pair your movements with your breath, and you want to keep your mind, your focus on what you're doing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
nothing worse than being in a workout and thinking about, what you're having for dinner, or
Yeah.
did I say the right thing to my boyfriend? Like, regarding
Yeah,
this, like, you
yeah.
don't want to get yourself
Try to focus,
distracted.
be present.
Be so, like, put your blinders up, be incredibly present, because from there is no really room for error, right? There's
Yeah.
no room for, like, I wish I would have done this differently. Like, no,
Yeah.
you were there, you were fully present, you committed. So,
Yeah. And that's becoming harder and harder for people these days. Like which is why I love what you do. It's just what you preach to of being grounded, being present in the moment, like that. We need more of that. We
totally.
all need more of that. And honestly, that's something I've realized over the years. I was the girl who always wanted to do more
Yeah.
workouts, more tracking my macros, just more and more and more.
Mhm.
And in reality, the slowing down, the being present in the moment has really changed my mindset, my mental health drastically.
Amazing. I look at that as people say like less is more, or you hear these little
Yeah.
phrases, but I look at it as allocating your energy accordingly. For instance, you remove some of your energy from working out, but you're going to take that same energy and put it towards focusing on proper nutrition, right?
Mhm.
So, you wake up, you have a certain level of energy that you're working with in that day, in that time frame. Again, you could say less is more on some things, but
Yeah.
I would rephrase it to like, how am I going to allocate my energy to get through the day, to accomplish all my tasks while still being present throughout it all?
Yeah.
I think that is something that, again, is really powerful, can really get you from A to B like that, like
Mhm.
way more quickly than, again, if you were to do more,
Yeah,
right?
for sure. Yeah, do you feel like there's anything in particular that you do that really helps keep you present and grounded?
I think just like, going back to that feeling good. And for
Mm.
me to feel good, I need to take care of myself.
Yeah.
And that is huge. Taking care of yourself, going to work out, going on a walk, using, let's say, like a red light therapy, sauna, cold
Mhm.
plunge, doing these things that sometimes may seem like, I don't want to go
Yeah.
work out. Like,
Yeah.
but like, look at it as like brushing your teeth. I always think of it like that. Like, you wake up.
Non-negotiable.
Yeah, like you wake up and you don't think twice about it. Like, I woke
Mhm.
up this morning, I'm exhausted this morning.
Yeah.
Not a big deal. I go in and I brush my teeth. I'm not gonna brush my
Brush my
teeth.
teeth.
I'm
Yeah.
not gonna work out. I'm not gonna do these other like recovery therapeutics like red
Yeah.
light, sauna, cold plunge. Like, I'm going to do these things because I know in return it's gonna make me feel good. It's gonna
Yeah.
give me more energy so I can allocate it accordingly,
Yeah.
right? And
I love that.
yeah.
And I fully believe all of that. I feel for me, just to sum it up, what I really feel helps me overall, just being who I am today, being present, being grounded, being happy, being positive. It all starts with having a relationship with myself. And in order to
Absolutely.
have a relationship with yourself, you've got to do some of those things.
You
You have to
take care
spend
of yourself.
quality time with yourself. You have to start loving yourself and seeing yourself as your best friend.
I always tell my students, like, always, I say, you are the main character in your life.
Yeah.
Okay. You are allowed to write people in, you can write them out, but as
Mm-hmm.
long as you nurture your connection with yourself,
Yeah.
like, you're unstoppable.
Yeah.
It's the moment when you give up your power to somebody else or something, that's when you kind of wallow
Yeah.
and can
Yeah.
get a little off your track,
For
right?
sure.
So you really just want to keep coming back to yourself, keep checking in with yourself, keep doing things that make you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And like, don't be stupid about it. Like, when I
Yeah.
say do things that make you feel good, that doesn't mean go off, do binge drinking and
Yeah,
like,
because it's not going to make you feel good the next
that's
day.
what exactly. Let me
Yeah.
just put that little caveat there. Yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying
you
that
know
like
better than that.
yeah, like you know what I mean. Like work
Yes,
out,
for
eat
sure.
well,
Yeah.
love yourself, cherish yourself. And a lot of times too, like we really need to focus on like close friends, family, like
Mhm.
community. Like we really need to cultivate
Yeah.
that because the past few years, I mean, all we're seeing, all I usually see, you know, on the news or like politically speaking is this division game. Like
Yeah.
this person thinks this way, so that means you have to think
Think
that.
that
Like
way.
it's
It's,
just
it's
so
becoming
much
a war.
it's just so convoluted and fucked up and just so stupid, honestly. Like
Yeah.
I'm not here to hate my brothers and sisters. I'm here to fucking love them and
Yeah.
support them.
Even if we don't necessarily agree
We
on
don't have to
every
agree on
little
everything.
thing.
Like
Yeah,
that's
for
the beauty
sure.
of being a human. We're not
Yeah.
robots. We're not all the same. We're unique, and that's what makes us all special.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know that I'm all about the positive energy, the
Yes.
positive mindset, positive vibes. So as we wrap this episode up, let's leave everyone with a positive takeaway.
I love that. Okay, so what's your takeaway?
My takeaway is through this episode, I hope in some way you're just reminded to stay true to who you are.
I love that. And this episode, make sure to do things that make you feel good, like working out, eating healthy, give your mom a call, you know, hug your brothers
Yes.
and sisters.
Yes, I love it.
I
All
love
right.
it.
Well, thanks, guys, for
Thanks,
tuning
guys.
in.
Thank
We'll
you,
see you
Meg.
soon.
Bye.